Okay. Hi people, so thank you so much for joining me yet again. So on my second live stream today. So I was thinking, what can I cook with you today? And I was thinking actually I'm just going to choose some simple chicken dishes to make. So I've just got some chicken. I've just cut this chicken up into just little cubes, and I'm just going to make some homemade chicken nuggets because I think just like often people go to the supermarket, they'll buy frozen chicken nuggets, and really you often wonder what's in them, and they are just so easy to make yourself. So why don't I just showcase that? And so I'm going to use half of my chicken to make chicken nuggets, and then I'm going to use the other half of my chicken to make a really simple, yummy chicken pie. So if you see, we've got our chicken here just cut up. A lot of people don't like feeling chicken. I think it can be a bit horrible. So if you use a fork to cut it up, that makes it so much easier. So in here, I've just got a bit of flour. So to your flour, you can always add a little bit of seasoning. So if you've got young children, you could maybe just add a little bit of pepper, or if they like, some children really like a little bit curry powder or a little bit of seasoning. So just add what you think that your children might like. So I'm just going to add a little bit of curry powder, just a tiny bit, just to give it a little bit of a zing. Just see, I'm not going to add a little bit. I'm just going to add what's maybe about half a teaspoon. Okay. So just going to add that to my flour, and also I'm just going to add a tiny bit of black pepper. Okay. And then to that, I'm just literally going to push it around all the flour, and because you've got so much flour, then the taste won't be huge. So if you want more, then just add more flavour. Okay, so when I do that, I'm just going to turn on my cooker, and I'm just going to heat up my my oil. And remember, not a huge amount, but you will need a little bit more than normal because the flour is going to take up oil. So if you keep the oil hot, then when you add your nuggets, then hopefully it won't take up as much oil as it would if the oil was cold. Okay, so if we now take our nuggets of chicken, and we're just going to put them in our flour. Okay, right, and literally if we throw that in our flour like this, that's all you're doing. You see that? We're literally coating our flour, our chicken, to make little chicken nuggets. Okay, and that's really all there is to it. And then once the oil is hot, let me just wash my hands. Then so we can see the oil has started to move around the pan. You can see that, so that means the oil is heating up really nicely. So if we then add if I use a fork, I won't have to wash my hands again. So if I use a fork, then I just put in my nuggets. Okay. It's really tempting at this stage just to throw the whole of the flour in, but that would be an absolute disaster because it just takes up all of the oil and will just make such a mess. So, okay, so if you wanted to, there is no reason why let me just check there's no more. I think that's it. So you could always coat your nuggets in the flour like we're doing, and then you could put in a bit of egg, and then you could put it in breadcrumbs. So if you're going to use breadcrumbs, that's great, but make sure they're already cooked breadcrumbs, because if you use fresh breadcrumbs, they're just going to take up the oil again. So, but another really good way of using our food waste is to take some of the bread. Bread is one of the biggest waste that we throw away in this country. So take some bread that you're not going to use, is going to be a bit stale, put it in the oven, and then roll it over with the chopping board, not a chopping board, the rolling pin, and till it goes really fine, and then put it in the freezer, and it can last up for ages. And then when you're using things like this, it's an absolutely perfect way to coat things in breadcrumbs and to use up that excess bit of bread that you would otherwise throw away. let's tidy up my food station here. Okay, so if we look at our nuggets, so look at how they're moving the cooker for you to show you. Okay, so they're all cooking nicely at the moment. We throw over our oil. Okay. So people often get a bit worried about chicken, and they often worry about their actually going to be cooked through enough. So actually, you know when chicken is cooked because it goes white. So that's a really good tip. And if you worry that chicken might not be cooked, I think sometimes people do worry about things like that. Then you could always just put it in the oven for 5 minutes, you know, and just that extra, just to reassure yourself. But really, I will show you once cooked, and once it's white and it's cooked through, then it's absolutely fine. Okay, so these are going to start to go really nice brown colour. So we turn these over. So talking about chicken again, actually, this chicken obviously I went to like a farm shop yesterday to buy this, and actually I'm really impressed with the quality. Often when you buy chicken from the supermarket, it's been injected with water, and then what happens is that you'll get loads of water coming off the chicken, and it's a nightmare because the chicken just isn't going to brown. There's no way chicken's going to brown when it's cooking in water, so therefore you constantly have to drain it and get rid of the water. So by just spending, I know that food is expensive, but by just spending a little bit more on your food, then you're going to get really good quality, and you're not going to get that problem of maybe shrinking of food, or of food that maybe is a nightmare to cook with. So this chicken is cooking beautifully at the moment. See? Excuse me. Okay, so not done yet. We can see it's still pink in the middle. If I show you that, so this still isn't done at the moment yet. So we're just going to keep cooking this until this is cooked through. So the great thing about nuggets is that you can always just use it as just as a finger food for children, or you can use it as just as a really nice lunch for adults and children alike. Or you can add it to pasta salads, like some pasta, and add some carrots and grated some apples. You can add some kidney beans if you like. You can add sweet corn, anything to make a really, really yummy pasta salad. Or you can make a pasta baked with it, or you can make a mollified chicken with it, or a casserole. So once you've got your chicken nuggets, you can use them for one meal, but there's no reason you couldn't use them for another meal as well. Can you turn this over? So it's starting to go a little bit brown. Okay, this is going really nice brown now. This is that bit's still a bit pink, so I turn that one over. Get this one stuck together. Turn it over. I was waiting to see if anyone was talking to me at all, but no one's talking to me today. Never mind, maybe next time more people might be joining us if I can sort out my my technology. Okay, if you're, again, another top tip, you can always push down with your nuggets with your fork, just to increase that heat, just to make sure they cook through a little bit. Right, these are sizzling really nicely. Now, let me show you. They've got a really, you can see that, a really, really nice brown colour. Let's okay. Right, so if I was to get a board, and then a knife, I'm going to pick one off. Okay. You can see that is white through, okay, so that is definitely cooked, okay? definitely cook. If you want to, you can always leave it on for just a couple of minutes if you like me. Sometimes you'll put it paranoid, but it is absolutely cooked. Okay, so these are all be perfect. Okay, and it's gone. And the more brown you cook it, that's going to have that really lovely flavour on there that people are going to really enjoy. Okay, so I think we'll turn it off now. So I put that on the plate. I'm going to show that to you. Okay, so these are really yummy chicken nuggets, if you can see those. Absolutely perfect, and I think they look absolutely yummy. So I think children, adults alike, who can not like a simple chicken nugget, you think how really easy that is to have made that. Okay. So if you just bear with me 2 minutes, I just would like to, I'm just going to wash my pan. Okay, so what I'd like to do is while I've got the rest of my chicken, I'd like to show you just how to make a really easy chicken pie that everyone's going to absolutely love. And again, it's like cooking with loads of vegetables and adding the chicken. You just can't go wrong. Let me just move my. Okay, right, so we're just going to take some vegetables, all right? So again, if you were watching me yesterday, I was just talking how important it is to have colour. So we've got an orange pepper today. So if we just cut that up, again, you can cut it any old how that you like, it really doesn't matter. So let's just cut it into little cubes. Sorry, I should have done this before. And again, if you just cut it small, it will all disappear down, okay? So we just cut our peppers. Okay, so I'm just cutting all higgledy-piggledy because it really doesn't matter. I'm going to take a yellow pepper as well, because I just think it's really great to have so much colour in food. And of course, as we talked about yesterday, it's the antioxidants you've got in all your different peppers, which is so good for you. That's why when we have 5 a day, we're asked to have 5 different types of fruit and vegetables, because that's why it's so important, rather than having 5 orange peppers or 5 green peppers. Having a different type of colour all gives us different benefits. So again, if we turn on our cooker, turn that down, just warm it up. We're just going to do what we call soften up our vegetables. We're just going to fry them a little bit. So again, use a little bit of oil, and then we're going to add our peppers. Okay, and then also this actually is a courgette. It's tiny, isn't it? This is all they had. They all had it yesterday. But again, I could do. It's called a Spanish courgette. I have no idea what the difference is. But I'm going to cook with this as well. So what I think yesterday we talked about grating. So I'm actually going to grate my courgette. And actually yesterday it really disappeared. We talked about how it would disappear in the bolognese, and it did. It was just perfect. It had a really lovely flavour. So we grate our courgette again. Again, minding your fingers. Okay, so just going to go that. Okay. So again, we've got our little bit of courgette. We're going to add that. Okay. Right. Then also we're going to add a carrot. So no peeling necessary. We're just literally going to cut our carrot. We could give it a quick wash if you like. But again, the added fibre that we get from the carrot is exactly what we So important to have in our diet, more fibre. We're going to be great that way. Okay, and we're going to add our carrot. Okay, so you're probably getting a bit bored of me grating, but if I just do a little bit more. So we're going to make our own pastry today. I'm going to show you how easy it is to make. But if you don't want to make your own pastry, you can easily buy that. You can. It's easy. You can buy it in the fresh aisle. You can buy it in the frozen aisle. Either is absolutely fine. You can make it. You can freeze it once you've made it. But it is easy, really easy to make. I know people often balk from making pastry. They think it's a bit difficult to make. But let me show you how easy it is. Okay. Right, the other thing I've just made, I thought mine, I'm just going to add a stick of celery. I'll just give that a quick wash. So celery, just, I don't know, just add something sometimes. It just like, just tidy up. Right, so celery can take quite a long time to cook as well. So ideally, you want to be cutting this as small as you can. Okay, so let's just try and cut that really small. Okay, so we cut that quite tiddy. We're going to throw that in. Okay. Okay. So we cut that again. Okay. There we go. Okay, right, so let me just tidy up and I'll just show you how everything's cooking. Move it away. Visuals. Okay, so let me show you how everything's cooking. I'll just grab a spoon. Okay, so this is all cooking down really nicely. So to this, obviously, you can add whatever flavours you like. We might add a little bit of garlic. I think that'd be really nice. You can add any seasoning that you like, some herbs, some anything really, to make it taste really, really nice. Okay, so let me just get a bowl. Okay, sorry, a little bit disorganised today. I spent all my time trying to get my link on YouTube working. It drove me absolutely mad. Okay, and it still didn't work. So it's okay, and breathe. Okay, so pastry. Okay, so pastry is literally half the amount of fat that you want to your flour. So we're going to do. I haven't got an awful lot of chicken here, so if we maybe make a smaller pie, so we maybe make 100 grams, maybe that might be enough, or we'll do 200, and then I've got stuff that I've got left over. So let's just, if we just do that. So I've just got my scale, so I'm just going to measure out 200 grams of flour. Okay. And if you go slightly over, don't worry. Everyone thinks you have to be so precise. But really, I'm 208. I mean, that's fine. I mean, I wouldn't worry. Okay. So, and then I'm going to add. I'm going to use stalk today. I know some people like butter and lard. It really is absolutely fine. If you want to be vegan and make your pastry, then you can add a vegan butter. I think flour is. That'll be absolutely fine. And then, of course, you don't add your chicken, but you could obviously add some lentils, you could add some beans, and make a pie that way, and that would be equally yummy. So we're just going to add our butter. So now we're going to have 100 grams. Okay, we've got 200 grams of flour. So just literally have half the amount of butter to that. So okay, 93. That's 94. That'll be fine. Okay, so now this is just a question of any of you getting your hands dirty. Okay, so literally you've got your fingers, and you're just going to put them in there, and literally you're going to put your hands in with your fat, and you're literally going to make your pastry. So this is all you're doing. You're just making them like breadcrumbs. And if you do want to cook with children, then children would absolutely love this. This is a really good opportunity for children to get involved and feel the food, feel the texture of the food, and understand how you can make this. If you don't want to use your fingers, you can put it in a food processor. That works absolutely fine too. Okay, so just making this into breadcrumbs, and I'm making a bit of a mess as I go along. Okay, so we can see that basically is breadcrumbs. Can you see that? So that's basically made into breadcrumbs. If you wanted to, you could add a little bit of salt. You don't need salt in your pastry, but some people like it. But just remember, if you're cooking with children, is that children really don't need salt in their diet. It's not good for them, and remember, salt's in absolutely everything. Okay, so we need to be really wary of that. Right, this is cooked down nicely. So let me just wash my hands from the pastry, and then we're going to add the chicken. We just tidy up our mess. Okay, so as we saw, I've just got plain chicken. Now, there's so much more that you could do with chicken. Some people love marinating their chicken in lemon, and that's really good actually. It's the top tip actually. Or you could marinate, if you want to, you can marinate a bit of soy sauce, a bit of basmati vinegar. If you wanted to just give it a bit of extra flavour, because chicken itself can be quite bland. But cooking like this again will be perfect too, so it all depends. But you can add flavourings to your actual sauce when you come to cook it. So if we just add our chicken now to our pan, okay, we add to the vegetables. Okay, so okay, right. And just give that a stir. And that's starting to go white already, okay? So I'm just going to leave that, and I'm going to finish off the pastry. Okay, so back to our pastry, our breadcrumbs, okay? So now what we're going to do is literally, we're going to add some water. So if I just take some, not that I'm using my jug for any reason, just because it's convenient. So I'm just going to pour a little bit of water. It's really difficult to tell you how much water to add because it just sometimes different amounts take up different amounts of water. So we add a little bit more. Okay. These a tiny bit more. Let me just show you just a tiny bit now, because otherwise it's going to be too much. Okay. Right. Okay, so basically, can you see that? This is our pastry. I told you it was easy to make. Look, here's our pastry. Let me show you. If I take it out of the bowl. Look here. Wow, look at that. Look how easy that was to make. Homemade pastry. See how easy was that? You know, just a bit of flour, a little bit of butter, a tiny bit of water, and you've got your homemade yummy pastry. So that then, if you had time, pastry really likes to be put in the fridge, and you can just keep it a little bit resting, it's called. But if you haven't got time, like today, we're going to use it straight away, then that works perfectly. Okay, it's absolutely fine. Right, I'm cooking. What am I cooking today? I'm cooking chicken pie today. Okay, I'll cook my chicken nuggets, and we're now cooking chicken pie. Okay, so I'm just going wash my fingers. Okay. So if I look at my chicken, and this is starting to be brown, I can turn up the heat a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to add a little bit of my garlic. So I'm using lazy garlic today, which is absolutely fine. I'm just going to add just a little bit of teaspoon of that just to give it some flavouring, and just stir that round. As you can see, the carrots and the courgettes have almost completely disappeared. So again, if you're cooking with children and they don't like vegetables like that, then that's a really good way of cooking them. It just adds to the sauce and just like adds extra vegetables. So when you're cooking pie, you want your chicken to go brown, which it will, but don't worry if it's not cooked, okay, because it's going to go in the oven. So when you cook your chicken nuggets, obviously you're going to eat them straight away, so it's really important they are cooked all the way through. But this chicken doesn't have to be. It can be, so this bit is a bit pink, see, and that's fine, because we're not going to turn it over, but it doesn't have to be cooked all the way. We just want it to be a little bit browned, because that's what gives us a really nice flavour. Okay. So we're now going to show you how to make a really simple white sauce. And I think people balk when they make a white sauce and they go, oh no, it's too difficult. I really need to buy it from a jar. Again, like the pastry, let me show you how easy that is to make. Okay, so just grab some milk. So we use plant-based milk in this household, so I'm making oat milk, and that works absolutely fine. But if you want to make it with cow's milk, that's great for children, absolutely fine. Absolutely important that you actually are using full fat milk for children when you're cooking. They really need the fat in their diet. So as you can see, look, all those vegetables have disappeared, haven't they? Think how many in the world I put in and how few they've become. It's incredible, isn't it? All completely disappeared. So if you wanted to at this stage, you could probably maybe even add some spinach, and I think that might be really nice actually. You can get some frozen spinach out of the freezer, add that would really give it something as well. So if I just take it off for the moment, and I'm going to put it over here. Okay, so I'm just going to get my little non-stick pan, not that it needs to be non-stick, just my smallest one. Right, and to that I'm going to add a little bit of butter, just a dollop, so I'm not very good at measuring things out. And then I'm going to add a little bit of flour. About equal amount butter to flour. You can do that by eye. If you can't do it by eye, it's generally, I think, about 50 grams of butter to 50 grams of flour and about 500 mils of liquid. So on the old days, you would, oh not the old days, in a proper method, you would make a roux. So you would melt your butter with your flour and you'd cook it and you would add your milk. I'm cheating, I'm going to add my milk at the same time, okay? So I'm just going to add my milk. And although it's not going to cook the flour up, as many chefs would say, no, that's really important, it still works a treat. And it makes it, again, so easy. So if I just grab a spoon, then I'm just going to show you, look, that's just cooking here. So what you might need to do, you might well need to have a whisk. And there's no harm in using a whisk at all, that's absolutely perfect. Okay. So whilst that's cooking, I'm just going to grab a pie dish. Okay. So I've just grabbed a pie dish that I'm just going to use in 2 minutes to do the pastry. If you haven't made enough pastry, then don't worry about doing a top and bottom. You can just literally do a top, and loads of pies are just tops. There's no harm in that at all. Right, I'm going to take a whisk because mine has gone a bit lumpy, which is fine. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of a whisk, and really it's not until the butter starts melting that it's all going to come together. Okay, let's go back on the heat and just give it a bit of a whisk there. Okay, so I'm going to think what flavourings I want. I've got my bit of garlic, and I think, well, actually, what else would be really nice to bring out some flavourings? So again, I think I'm just going to go back to my my mixed herbs, because I think mixed herbs are absolutely fantastic. So if I just add a handful of those, I'm just going to add a bit of mixed herbs, and I'm going to add a little bit of black pepper. Now at this stage, if you wanted to, you could add a little bit of mustard, that might be really nice, or maybe a little bit of Worcester sauce might be nice too. Actually, I might do that, I might just add a little bit of Worcester sauce. And we're just going to carry on just giving that a really big stir. Okay. Okay, so there we go. If I just add a bit of my Worcester. Okay. So Worcester just adds something, you just need a couple of drops, hardly anything, okay, it just gives it again a little bit of flavouring. Okay. So we go back to my sauce, okay, and it's starting to thicken up, just to encourage that. Okay. Again, if you are cooking with children, obviously you don't want them cooking with anything on the hob. But there's no reason you couldn't take this off the hob and let them have a stir and put it back again, just so they feel they're involved in the cooking process. So you could show them what's actually happening. So this is again, if you can see, this is really thickening up nicely. So that's everything coming together. It's the flour and the butter start to really thicken up. Okay, so when it gets to a bit, you probably think actually it's probably too thick, so then you can add whatever you want. You can add a bit more milk, you could add a bit of water, you could add a bit of creme fraiche if you wanted. So this is thickening up, okay? So you see that? So I'm actually going to add a bit more milk. Now, actually thinking about things, I've just remembered actually, I think to this I'm going to add a stock cube, because I think again that's because I want it to taste like chicken, and so if I add a chicken stock cube, that will really bring out the flavours as well. So if I go into my cupboard and I just grab a stock cube, so I'm going to add one of these. It's just like, be careful if you're cooking with children though, just be careful how much salt, because again, just be wary, and just maybe take some time to cook with the lower salt ones. So I'll just add my stock cube, and then just give that a really big stir, okay? And that hopefully will all disintegrate. Well, when that's done, I'm just going to show you how we're going to put it all together, okay? So this is basically our stock. This is basically our really yummy sauce, which again, so we made this with a bit of butter, a bit of flour, a bit of milk, and that we've added a tiny bit of Worcester sauce. We've added some mixed herbs, a tiny bit of black pepper, and a chicken stock cube. Okay, I think it's going to be yummy. Okay. Can everyone see that? Okay. So this hopefully will thicken up a little bit. If it doesn't, it's fine. There's loads of chicken for it to take on. Okay, so I just turn that off. Okay, so if I push that to one side. Right, let me just tidy up a little bit for you, so you can see what I'm doing. So the trouble with cooking is it's always so messy. There's always so much to tidy up when you go along. That's why chefs have cleaners, don't they? It must be so convenient for them. Okay, so if we push everything to one side. Right, we'll just quickly grab a cloth. Okay. Right. So you're rolling out pastry, okay. So again, so ideally, like you say, you want a clean surface. And then you need to stop your pastry from sticking. So we're going to take a little bit of flour, and we're just going to add a little bit of flour to our surface, okay? And then to that we're going to take our pastry. Make sure it's not too much, just enough, okay? So you're going to roll it over, and you can, if you want, give it a tiny little bit of a knead, okay? Not much, because pastry doesn't like being played with an awful lot, but a little bit, okay? So you've got a really pliable pastry, can you see that? Okay, so am I going to have enough to make a top and bottom? I'm not sure, but let's give it a go. Okay, so if we take off a tiny bit of our topping, and I'm going to leave a small bit for the top. Right, then I'm going to put some flour on my rolling pin, okay, to make sure it doesn't stick. I think I'm making a mess. Okay, then I'm just going to roll my pastry, and as you're rolling it, you're just going to pick it up, and you're just going to continue rolling it over. Okay? So, and the reason you're doing that is because you really, really don't want it to stick. Okay, so this pastry, I'm quite impressed actually, feels really light. Okay, so you literally, can people see this? You literally, and then ideally you want to take your pot and you want to see how big it is, because you want it to fit. This one's a bit deep, so if I just roll it a little bit more. Okay. Right, so if I just, then the top tip, if you just get your rolling pin, and now it's probably going to stick, isn't it? If you take your rolling pin and you roll over your rolling pin, you can pick your pastry up, okay? And then you can roll it over your tin. Okay? And then you can pick it up and just move it. So with pastry, you can then use your tops of your fingers and you can literally push it in. And pastry is quite pliable as well, it's fine, but it will shrink a little bit. So if you allow the pastry, get a little bit and just allow it to come in a little bit, because otherwise when you cook it, it will shrink a little bit. So you're going to allow it that little bit of room. Okay. Okay. And if it doesn't quite fit, if you've got holes like I have, then it doesn't matter. It's just like you can always take your pastry and you can plug up the holes, okay? Because that doesn't matter. Who cares? It's what the taste is what you're after. You're not after what it looks like. You're not after bake off. You're just making something really yummy that you're going to eat. Okay, so basically we've lined our pastry dish. Okay, so we're now going to take our chicken, and actually my chicken chunk's a little bit too big, which is a shame, but never mind. So I'm going to put my chicken into my pie dish. Oh, it smells so good, really good. Sorry. Okay, and then I'm going to add my sauce. Okay. So I put my sauce over my right, so I've got a bit too much sauce here actually, which is absolutely fine. I can freeze that for another day. That would make my life so much easier. Okay, so there you go. So I have a little bit left, that's fine. I can go in the freezer, I can go in the fridge, and I can use that to make something else. Okay, so here I have my pie. So before we finish, we're going to make the topping. So literally we're going to take our pastry. I'm going to roll it out again. I'm going to put some flour on the bottom, maybe a little bit more. Just stick, roll it over again. Okay, keep an eye on how big we need to make it. okay? And mine's got a very funny shape, but it really doesn't matter because who cares, okay? It's quite difficult to roll a circle. Well, I think it's quite difficult to roll a circle. Right, okay, I'm sure there's a knack to that, if I can find it. Okay, so I've got a very strange shape here, but never mind. Right, okay, so I was after a pastry brush. Here you go. So we'll just take a pastry brush, and now all I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe across the top of my topping like this, okay? Like this, just a bit. And I'm literally going to take my pastry, pick it up, and I'm going to put it over the top. Okay. And then I'm just going to pick it up and put it on top, okay? And again, if it doesn't quite fit, like mine doesn't quite, it doesn't matter. You can take a knife, go around the edges like this, and you can always put it, or you could even, if you're any good at making any nice leaves, you can make nice leaves and you could make that to go on the top as pure decoration. Okay, so there is your really simple, really yummy, homemade, doesn't it look so homemade chicken pie, okay? Can you see that? So if you wanted to, you could put a few slits. People often put a few slits just to let the steam escape, okay? And we're going to cook that, I think, about 180 for probably about 20-30 minutes until everything is just all cooked inside, the pastry's all cooked, and it comes out absolutely looking really yummy. So I really, really hope you've enjoyed being with me today. I've really enjoyed cooking with you today. So please go away, have a go, and let me know how you get on. All right. Thank you. I'll see you again soon. Thank you. Bye.